Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome to my first GT7 money making method and build of 2023. So this car right here has just returned to the legendary dealership after what seems like forever. Actually, when the November update dropped, I accidentally sold my original version of this car. So I've been waiting for it to come along again so I can get back to grinding money with it. This is a all-around solid build. It's a very good grinding car and it will pay for itself in absolutely no time. So let's go in and have a look at it in the legendary dealer. As you can see, this is the Mercedes AMG CLK-LM from 1998, an absolutely instantly recognizable Mercedes. I feel like this is up there with some of their all-time great cars. It's yours for 6.5 million, and whilst that is very expensive, I feel like this money grind will kind of make it worth the money. In all honesty, it pays for itself in no time. The new one that I've just got, well, it's already paid for itself. So let's get into the build itself. As you can see, we've got this one to dot on 800 pp. So we are running Sardinia, as I feel that is the best place to run Group 2s without totally nerfing them. So you will need to purchase racing hard tyres for this build, as you know, from standard it comes on racing mediums. In terms of body height, you've already got the fully customizable suspension on, so we're going to go for 55 at the front and 75 at the rear. If you kind of equal it out, I feel like the rear end just bottoms out too much, hence why we've kind of got the rear a little bit further upwards. Anti-roll bar is going to be 4 at the front and 8 at the rear. Damping ratio compression is 30 and 40. Expansion is going to be 40 and 45. Natural frequency 4.30 front and 4.70 rear. Negative camber angle 1.5 and 2.5. Toe angle is 0 at the front and 0.15 inwards at the rear. Fully customizable differential is already on the car from standard, so you don't need to purchase that. I've got mine set at 5 for the initial torque. Acceleration sensitivity, I've got mine set at 27, but that may be personal preference, but I feel like that is good for me. And then we'll have the braking sensitivity at the bottom at 5. We do have the fully customizable racing transmission, which you will need to buy installed on this car. I've got it set to 250. I believe that's the standard ratio. You shouldn't have to change any individual gears. I'll do a bit more explaining as to why we've kind of kept it so short a little bit after this overall build. We've got the ballast at 3. We've got the positioning at -8, so that's towards the front. Power restrictor, we are not restricting power on the actual power restrictor, but on the ECU we've got the fully customizable ECU with the output adjustment set to its lowest at 70. Don't worry though, we have countered this with a single part and kind of, try to adjust it as much as possible so it doesn't absolutely nerf this build. Again, I will explain more in detail after the original tuning sheet. So yeah, we have countered that. Downforce is 550 at the minimum at the front and 850 at the maximum at the rear. Now, medium RPM turbocharger, this is what I mean by trying to counteract as much of that nerf as possible. And I'll kind of explain overall what this build aims to do and why I've kind of built it this way. So the medium RPM turbocharger for me is better than not turbocharging it. Nothing else needs changing. Feel free to pause at any moment. So in a bid to improve my content, I'm going to do a little section before we get into the strategy for this car and how to run it, basically explaining why I built a car the way I have. People don't seem to realise these videos are mainly about the build, not the money method. That's just kind of titling from many months ago. I'm kind of stuck in a trap of it being very recognisable to the channel, as well as the kind of thumbnail types. So yeah, sadly I'm kind of stuck there. So let's talk about the build itself, the CLK. So Group 2 machines for me are absolutely terrible if you over nerf them. If you start adding weight and start removing power and such, they're just an absolute nightmare. We have removed the power here, however we've added the medium RPM turbocharger to help with acceleration, so this build will be insanely drivable, quite twitchy and quite maneuverable, whilst having a lot of downforce and insane acceleration. It does have low top speed, but you'll only really top out mainly on this section here or the main straight. Apart from that, you should be golden. So this build really aims to just keep the stability and the downforce that these Group 2 cars produce. So let's get on to the strategy here. We've gone for Fuel Mix 6 to begin with. This is because this car is insanely kind on its tyres and insanely good on fuel. In fact, you'll only have to do a single pit stop in this race, and that's actually only for the fuel. If you don't want to, you don't have to change the tyres. You will start noticing a drop off in your last few laps, especially when we're going to turn the engine up at that part of the race. So I would recommend putting the tyres on. I'm not going to put them on here, so my lap times will be a bit slower later on than really what they could have been on a fresh set. But as you're going to see, we're going to work our way through the grid. Now in terms of difficulty, I've got this set on easy here. That's just a force of habit, but I would actually recommend running it on normal. The main reason for this is because you run into less traffic. If you've got it on easy, you're going to lap the whole grid probably more than once. You'll probably lap, say, the back marker cars probably 2 times and lapping the front ones once, which means you're constantly getting stuck in traffic. It's going to affect your lap times and affect your overall total time. So I do recommend putting it on normal and just going for it. Trust me, it's an easy win no matter what. The other cars around you, which I'll showcase if you're a new player later, do have to pit a lot more than you. With only a couple of cars, I believe, doing a 1 stop, but they don't really come into play until the end of the race, really. But at that point, you're already long gone. In terms of your clean race bonus, you won't lose it here unless you basically run a yellow flag. Now, I actually saw a yellow flag come out of this event in this exact run. I'm not going to showcase it, but it did come out for the first time in probably, a good half a year. I've not seen a yellow flag there. Don't overtake at that point. You should be fine. Just hold back while the yellow flag's out. Don't overtake any cars, and you should avoid any clean race bonus disaster. That is the only way you can lose it. So with lap 1 done, let's have a look when you should be realistically overtaking the leader. So we're going to finish up the first bit here. We're going to make a move, and we're up to about P6 just after lap 1. So as you can see, lap 4, this is where you should realistically be overtaking the leader. He'll be quite a way ahead. I believe he runs these soft tyres though, so that's to be expected. He's pretty much going to run away from the rest of the grid, but you should quite easily, chase him down and get past him in pretty much no time, really. Nice and easily done. Now, as you can see, this is what I mean by the other cars pitting. They do have their own strategies. Some cars are on 2-stop strategies, some are on 3, and I believe there's a couple of them on 1-stop strategies. But again, you shouldn't have to worry about them. We're only doing a single stop strategy. This is mainly for the new players that kind of came along at Christmas and such. So I'm going to try and cater to you to just explain, look, don't worry about the AI. They'll have to pit a lot more than you, and you really shouldn't have to worry about them, well, in the slightest. So lap 9, at the end of lap 9 going on to lap 10, we're going to take our first and only pit stop. We're going to jump in. Now you're going to see this time I'm not actually going to take any tyres. Again, this car insanely kind on its tyres. Even when it kind of gets quite worn, you should find yourself really not worrying too much about them. You will feel a bit of lack in performance in comparison to when the tyres are, at the best. But overall, it's not kind of urgent that you have to jump on another set of tyres if you just want to save yourself maybe a few seconds. But I would say realistically, it's worth just putting a fresh set on and just going for it. You'll probably, make that time up in, overall laps and stuff. So yeah, you should realistically make that time back up from the couple of seconds you would kind of lose from adding tyres to not, adding tyres, if that kind of makes sense. So I'm going to let this clip play out. We've just come out of the pits. I do recommend, by the way, just looking back as you come out the pits. That's mainly because the AI will come absolutely flying down there and they will take you out. The AI can be really extremely dumb in this game sometimes. But as you can see, I've turned the engine up to fuel mix free. So we've gone more towards the power side. I recommend running this for a few laps. You don't have to run it in fuel mix 6 anymore. You're going to get more performance and better lap times this way. So as you can see, I'm going to overtake the, lap the original lead here, and we're going to turn the engine up to 1. This is on lap 13, around about just over a quarter of a way through the lap. Now I'm going to take you on a bit of a tour of my fastest lap just to explain really how to drive, where to brake. So you're looking for the 100 board on the right hand side. You can brake after that, but I find the 100 and just a slight bit over is the sweet spot. Basically full power through here. As you can see, we're still on worn tyres, so it's not going to be the most perfect lap. Now on the right hand side here, I'm actually going to brake a little bit too early. You can leave it later and basically just swoop around here. Again, you want to get it down into gear 1 for this right hander. Power out nice and smoothly. Don't touch the outside of the grass because it will spin you around. I've done that quite a few times. You just want to brake just after the 50 board, bring it across nicely and bring it back out, power down, and essentially this is where you're going to top out your car. Basically you top out 2 times per lap. You're going to be doing a top speed of 160 miles an hour. Like I said, the car is built for more acceleration and downforce, and it really does suit it. So up we go, and again you're looking for the 100-meter board. You're going to brake there. You can do it again just after, but these worn tires don't really give the best, you know, feel when you're under heavy braking and such. You want to just be gentle through there, throttle control, power out, full power through here, and this right-hander here you can go flat out. So you want to go flat out, then shift it down a bit. I'd really recommend gear 4 or gear 3 through that left-hander. Just watch the grass on the right, because again it's another place where if you catch it you're going to spin yourself around. Bit of throttle control through here. I went a little bit wide onto the grass, as you can see. That's just the tyre weight kicking in. We're going to power out all the way down to the start finish line. It's a pretty simple lap, and again if you realistically just remember like the 100 and the 50 boards or the last boards on your right, that's usually a good indication of when you should realistically brake and start slowing down with this car. It has very good brakes and it will catch back up to speed and acceleration and stuff very, very easily. So there we have it. That is my final lap. We're going to cross the line here. Tyres still intact, only just that front right absolutely wearing off, and it's a nice and easy first place. Like I said, I had it set to easy here, but I do recommend running it on normal just so you don't get caught up as much as I did during this run with the AI just being extremely slow. So as you can see, we lapped the whole field. We did a fastest lap on lap 14, which I showed you, which was a 1 minute 39.198. Since then, and going back and getting used to this method, I've gone even quicker than that. I believe you can get it in the 137s, 138 range quite easily. Again, it's all confidence building, and you'll build your confidence with this build very, very easily. In all honesty, this is one of the easiest kind of cars to use. It's so drivable. We're going to come out with 727,500 credits in around about 25 minutes, which isn't too bad. Again, it's just more of a laid back, easier method. So there we go. We're going to start building up credits, and it's going to be a nice, easy drive and a nice, decent build, to be honest. I really, really do enjoy this build. It's probably one of my go-to just kind of laid back builds, as much as I love the Escudo because it can do it in 23 minutes. Again, a lot of people are limited by not even having that. It's been out the game so long, so I thought, you know what, let's go to another one of my go-to money methods, which was Sardinia. And with this car finally returning, I can finally get my build back, because like the idiot I am, I kind of sold my original one, which was just absolutely stupid really on my part. So there we go. I hope this kind of explains the build itself, goes more in depth about the car and just how easy it can be to grind money with the correct build. Let me know what you think of this build. Don't forget to recommend me any other builds. I'm going to go back and redo some of my older classic builds as well, because, you know, PP changes and all that. So that's going to be it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on, check the description for my Twitter, Discord and all that stuff. Peace.